Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat, sa ating mga kapatid sa gobyerno, lalong-lalo na sa ating mga kaguro, nawa ay nasa maayos kayong kalagayan saan man kayo naroroon, at saan man kayo naaabot ng ating video. For today's video ay pag-uusapan po natin, ang bagong Senate bill na inintroduce ni Senator Christopher Lawrence Bongo, tungkol sa proposal nitong salary increase para sa mga kawani ng gobyerno. Para sa buong detalye, panoorin ang bidyong ito. At kung bago po kayo sa ating channel, mangyaring paki-subscribe, like, and share, at paki-hit na rin po ng notification bell para maging updated po kayo ng mga ganitong information, at narito ang detalye. Senate Bill No. 2504. Introduced by Senator Christopher Lawrence Bong Tigo. An act increasing the salary schedule of civilian personnel in the government, and for other purposes. Explanatory note. In recognition of their invaluable contributions, our civil servants, the people who dedicate their everyday lives to the service of the Filipino people, must be given an opportunity to pursue a career in the service that would allow them to enjoy competitive wages, enough to address their personal needs and that of their families. As of October 2023, according to the Philippine Statistics Authority, year-to-date inflation rate stood at 6.4%, this is still above the government ceiling of 2% to 4%. Considering the rise in prices of goods and services, a substantial wage increase will help improve the welfare of government workers and ease the effects of the rising cost of living. While the last tranche of the Salary Standardization Law 5 is still currently being implemented this year, the government must always review the salaries it provides to civilian employees so that it can maintain the attractiveness of government service and reduce the possibility of corruption. Having a competitive compensation in government service not only improves the lives of government employees, but it also attracts employees with expertise and skill. It dignifies work in the government. This bill mandates the Department of Budget and Management to formulate a modified salary schedule for civilian personnel, reflecting an increase to be implemented in 4 tranches. It is our aim that through this measure, the government will be able to further recognize the commitment and dedication of government workers in the delivery of programs and services to the Filipino people. In view of the foregoing, the passage of this bill is earnestly sought. Signed, Senator Christopher Lawrence, Bong, Tigo. Section 1. Short title. This act shall be known as the Salary Standardization Law 6. Section 2. Declaration of Policy, pursuant to Section 5, Section 9b, of the Constitution, it is hereby declared the policy of the state to provide for the standardization of the compensation of all government officials and employees taking into account the nature of the responsibilities pertaining to, and the qualifications required for, their positions, thereby strengthening the government's merit and reward system. Section 3. Coverage. This act shall apply to all civilian government personnel in the executive, legislative and judicial branches, constitutional commissions, and other constitutional offices, government-owned or controlled corporations or GOCCs. Not covered by Republic Act No. 10149, and local government units. This shall cover government personnel whether regular, contractual or casual, appointive or elective, and on full-time or part-time basis. Section 4. Exclusions. The following shall be excluded from the coverage of this act. A. Military and uniformed personnel, and B. GOCCs under RA No. 10149 which shall be covered by a compensation and position classification system established by the Governance Commission for GOCCs and approved by the President of the Philippines. Section 5. Salary Increase. The Department of Budget and Management shall formulate a modified salary schedule for civilian personnel, reflecting an increase to be implemented in 4 tranches which shall take into consideration the following. A. Differences in pay shall be based upon substantive differences in duties, responsibilities, accountabilities, and qualification requirements of the positions. B. The compensation for all civilian government personnel shall be standardized and rationalized across all government agencies to create an enabling environment that will promote social justice, integrity, efficiency, productivity, accountability and excellence in the civil service, and C. The compensation of all civilian personnel shall generally be competitive with those in the private sector doing comparable work to attract, retain and motivate a corps of competent and dedicated civil servants. Section 6. Compensation System, the Total Compensation Framework. Established under Republic Act No. 11466, consisting of the following components. Shall continue to be adopted. A. Basic salaries including step increments. B. Position classification system. C. Standard allowances and benefits. D. Specific purpose allowances and benefits, and A. Incentives. Section 7. Compensation Adjustment for Personnel of Local Government Units, the Compensation Framework for Personnel of Local Government Units. Established under Republic Act No. 11466 shall continue to be adopted. Section 8. Implementation Schedule, for personnel of national government agencies, the modified salary schedule shall be implemented in 4 tranches, with the first tranche beginning on January 1, 2024, the second tranche beginning on January 1, 2025, the third tranche beginning on January 1, 2026, and the fourth tranche beginning on January 1, 2027. For personnel of GSIS and LGUs, the implementation period shall be not less than 4 years depending on their financial capabilities, provided that the initial implementation shall not be earlier than January 1, 2024. Section 9. Exempt entities. Exempt entities refer to 1. Government agencies that are not covered by the compensation and position classification system authorized under RA No. 6758, as amended. 2. GSIS governed by the CPCS established by GCG under RA No. 10149, and 3. Those authorized by law and have adopted their own compensation and position classification system. Exempt entities shall be governed by their respective compensation and position classification systems, which shall be made effective upon the recommendation of the DBM or GCG, as the case may be, and approval by the President of the Philippines. Section 9. Applicability to certain officials, pursuant to Section 6 of Article 7 and Section 10 of Article 6 of the Constitution, the salaries authorized herein for the President of the Philippines, Vice President of the Philippines and members of Congress shall take effect only after the expiration of the respective terms of the present incumbents. Section 10. Funding sources. The funding sources for the amounts necessary to implement this act shall be as follows. A. For NGAs, the amount needed for the salary adjustment in fiscal year 2024 shall be charged against any available appropriations in the fiscal year 2024, General Appropriations Act and any other available and valid appropriations. Thereafter, such amounts as needed shall be included in the Annual General Appropriations Act. B. For GOCCs, the amounts shall come from their respective corporate funds. In the corporate operating budgets approved by DBM. GOCCs which do not have sufficient funds shall only partially implement the rates of compensation to be formulated by the DBM, provided that any partial implementation shall be at uniform proportion of such rates for all positions in each GOCC. C. For LGUs, the amounts shall be charged against their respective local government funds in accordance with the pertinent provisions of RA No. 11466 and RA No. 7160. Section 11 Implementing Rules and Regulations. The DBM shall issue the guidelines necessary to implement specific provisions of this Act. Section 13. Separability Clause. If any provision of this Act is held invalid or unconstitutional, the same shall not affect the validity and effectivity of the other provisions hereof. Section 14. Applicability of Presidential Decree No. 985 as amended by 1 Presidential Decree No. 1597 and other related laws. All provisions of Presidential Decree No. NJ85 as amended by P.D. No. 1597, RA No. 6758, Congress Joint Resolution No. 1, Series 1994, Congress Joint Resolution No. 4, Series 2009, and Executive Order No. 201, Series 2016, RA number 11466 which are not inconsistent with, expressly modified, revoked or repealed in this act shall continue to be in full force and effect. Section 15. Effectivity, this act shall take effect 15 days after its publication in the Official Gazette or in a newspaper of general circulation. At dito po nagtatapos ang ating video. Para po sa inyong mga kaguro, ano po ang masasabi nyo tungkol sa inintroduce na bagong Senate Bill ni Senator Bongo? Pakilagay ng inyong mensahe sa comment section, para po patuloy kayo maka-access ng latest information, mangyaring paki-subscribe, like at share para ma-notify po kayo ng mga latest updates. Maraming salamat po.